Good day and greetings from the Great White North. My name is Prickly Poo and welcome to day 60 of a year of change. Day 60, we made it. I still don't know if I'm going to do this as a milestone or not. I'm leaning towards not. We had our little 50-day poo in the middle of the screen. So I'm sort of leaning towards those being our milestones, like 50, 100, 150. I know that time-wise, it seems to fit better to go 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, stuff like that. I almost didn't know what the other 30 was. But for some reason, I don't know, there seems to be a finality to it when we do it that way because we think, oh, well, then we're almost at the end of a year. And I really want this to continue on after that. I mean, I'm still just going to do the full year, but I want to, keep going into other series and things like that. So, for this, I think we're probably going to go every 50 for a milestone. I think that's good. That way we have 50 and 100, 150 and things like that. And then we'll have 15 days at the end, which will kind of be weird. But if we did every 30 days, it just feels like when we got to 350, when you know there's only 10 days, there's that end to it. And I'd rather keep going, as it were. So I was actually going to talk today about going up the hill yesterday. I did park up there. I did walk it after work. Things went fine. There were absolutely no problems whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. But we'll touch on that tomorrow in a little bit more detail. Because I'm going to go up there again today. I'm just going to make it part of my routine is that's where I park. And then I can walk down and walk up after work. So, and I did take some pictures. So you'll see those. You'll see exactly how bad it is. And we'll just sort of go from there. But for today, we're going to sort of stick with a format that we've gotten accustomed to, or that I've set aside anyway, and do another food one, but not exactly food. It's going to be a little bit different. What sort of prompted this was that I know in a few months' time, once we start tweaking our food intake, I mean, we've already done our food changes per se, but once we start getting into the real nitty-gritty of it, like looking at sugar and fat and carbs. Ooh, carbs. That's a very fancy word. Carbohydrates. Carbs makes it sound too, I don't know, fitness oriented. I'm obviously not there yet. And for me, watching my sodium, then we're going to need to start sort of replacing a lot of what we use. And that's what today is. Basically is we're going to look at different spices and things that we can use that way. I have something in my throat. It might be a bug. I don't know. I'm okay. I'm sure there's a Spice Girl joke in here somewhere that I could use that will now date me, but I can't honestly think of any. I don't know any of their songs. But just assume I did a really, really funny Spice Girls joke, and we all laugh. So, oh, you're so witty. Anyway, the reason why I want to look at these, like I said, is that at some point I'm going to have to start cutting back on my salt intake. And more than anything, I think that's going to be my biggest hurdle. More than the exercise, more than tracking my food, more than cutting out junk food, more than even the overeating is the salt. Because I put it on everything. I put it on like eggs. I put it on pizza, which people have thought was weird. Macaroni and cheese, like things that you normally wouldn't think needed extra salt, and I put it on everything. So I know that that's something that I'm going to need to cut way, way back on, because if I was to actually track my sodium levels, they're probably through the roof. I wouldn't even have the first idea. It's probably 4 or 5 times what people should be eating. So, I mean, I use a lot of spices when I'm cooking anyway, and it sort of has replaced, a number of other things. But I'm going to sort of be leaning on these a lot more once we start making those little changes. So I thought it's a good time to sort of bring them into you guys so that you can introduce them into your diet as well. Not to replace anything per se. I think I said per se twice already in this video. Anyway, not to replace anything. But so that once we do start cutting back on a lot of stuff, then you're going to have something else that you can go to. Best example is probably for those of you that have started eating your vegetables. It sounds so childish, but those of you that have introduced vegetables into your diet, especially if there are ones that, you've tried ones that are good, you've tried ones that are bad, and you've settled on a few that you actually enjoy, you're probably still smothering them in butter or margarine or whatever it is that you use. I was the same way. years and years and years ago, when I used to just literally drown them in butter. Well, not literally, because you can't drown. You know what I mean. Figuratively drown them in butter. That after, like, if I had a bowl of peas or corn or whatever it is, then at the bottom there would still be like some leftover butter. That's how much I used to put into it. And I'm thinking of this now because it wasn't a conscious decision to sort of cut back on that much. It's just that because of how my eating habits are now, and even way back then, I couldn't. It would be like drinking a mouthful of oil. It would be really gross. So I use a lot of these every day, just either in my regular cooking or when it's done cooking, because they aren't like hard, crunchy things that you can. So it's not the same as putting salt on afterwards. They'll mix in with whatever you're cooking, or even after cooking, then they taste a little bit different. So there are a few I'm going to show you, the ones that are sort of my go-to that you can try. Ideally, what you would want to do is next time you go to the grocery store, just go to the spice shelf and sort of take a look around and see what different ones that there are. One of the main ones that I go through a lot of, and I've probably gone through half a dozen of these or so, are the salad herbs. Now, these are done by Clubhouse. I don't know who's available where you are, but these are the ones that are available for me. They are a bit pricey. They're about $4 or $5 a bottle, but they last a very, very long time. I use this on a lot of stuff, and it'll last me at least 3 or 4 weeks. So, because you aren't just like coating something with it, it's not like grabbing a handful of basil or something, or basil, or however you pronounce it, and throwing it in. There are some people that just sort of overwhelm their food with it, like bay leaf. You're supposed to put one bay leaf in a huge pot of stuff and stir it around, let it sit for a bit, and then take it out. But they don't. They just seem to leave it in there, and it's just like, it would be the same as grabbing a whole handful of peppercorns and throwing them in. It just doesn't taste right. Anyway, so this is one that I use a lot of, and it's salad herbs, because there's an H in it. So you can use it on like eggs or rice, or I know rice is supposed to be bad. It's not. Don't worry, you're fine. Vegetables, I put it a lot. I put this. Let's try that again. I put a lot of this on my vegetables, just because it's, I don't use a lot of margarine on them, and it does help add to the flavor of it. And if you're trying to, as we are, trying to eat a little bit healthier, you can do a lot worse than these. A lot of these as well, they don't have any calories to them. So, and some of them, if they do, it's because they've got like a little bit of sugar added in with it, or some salt. But we aren't really tracking that for these spices. I mean, if it's really high, like 50 calories for a teaspoon, then yeah, track it. But in general, you really don't need to. Another one which I tried yesterday for the first time, it's a new one that I found, was roasted garlic and peppers. So it sounds like it's going to be like have some heat to it, but it really doesn't. And it's really interesting to try something new. I'm not going to sit here and show you a whole bunch of different ones that I use, because that would just take forever. But generally, I mean, I still get it's all the same brand anyway. But if you know that you like a certain spice, like if you think, okay, great, garlic, if that's your go-to spice, then when you go, take a look. They've got just regular garlic. They have like onion and garlic. They have garlic and lemon. They have garlic and herbs. They've got a ton of different stuff that includes garlic as the main ingredient. So you can start with those. Start with something that you know you're going to enjoy. Like if you're going to start with something, then go, I've never tried this. I don't know if I'm going to like it. I mean, it might be a waste of money. So start with something that you know that you're going to enjoy. If it's onion based, if that's your thing, they have a bunch of those. And all you need to do, just every time you go to the grocery store, pick one out. If you have the money, pick out 2 or 3 at a time so that you can try different ones. And another thing that you might want to try, this is what I do, and I don't know if you're supposed to, but I do. As you notice, all these have a little red top on them, where I am anyway. I don't know what they look like where you are. There is a different one as well, and it's technically not really looked at as a spice, but the ones with the black top where I am, these are your rubs. These are dry rubs. But I still use them as a spice, because they've got a lot of different things in them. And they don't go with everything, but they'll go with enough stuff that you'll be able to find something that is a nice, like a nice happy medium. This one is one, the only reason why I really got it was because the flavors didn't sound like they would go together at all. And so initially you just kind of go, ugh. Like it's something that you wouldn't think would go well. But you figure, no, they've got people that have tried these out, and enough people like them that they decide to put them on the market. So this one is Chipotle Mango. So smoked jalapeno peppers and mango, which doesn't sound like it would go together at all, but it goes together really, really well. This is really spicy, though. If you like a lot of heat in your food, then you would probably enjoy this. This is just like a steak rub, but I use it on pretty much everything. I'll throw it in with, a stir fry or other foods. I'm not going to go through everything that I put this on because that would be ridiculous. I'll just list a whole bunch of things that I put these things on. So there are some like Montreal steak spice, which I've never been a big fan of. That you can, if you really enjoy that, try that as your spice. The key isn't to say, okay, well, no more butter, no more margarine, things like that, and, start using these. But just have it sort of integrated in with your diet so that once we do start tweaking these things, you'll have certain go-to spices that maybe you can add a little bit more to just to sort of enhance the flavor without adding the salt and, butter to it like I do. Even things like popcorn. I don't like wet popcorn. It drives me nuts. So when I go to the movies, I never buy popcorn. It's not because of the price, because it's $8,000 a bag. It's just I don't want soggy popcorn. It's disgusting to me and just bleh. And even when I buy like microwave popcorn, I'll get like extra buttery stuff, but it's not wet. It's like a dry, buttery, pretend buttery thing that's in there, and I'll put on, the popcorn shakers. And surprise, surprise, usually go for like salt and vinegar or dill pickle or something salty. So I know that's going to be probably the hardest thing I'm going to have to do with this change is get rid of the salt. I'm not going to get rid of it altogether because we do need sodium in our diets, but I'm putting in way, way too much. But that's a story for another day. So when you go experiment with different things, like I say, it'd be best to sort of start with something that you think that you're going to enjoy, because that way at least you're going to use it all up. If you get something that's really out there, you may not like it. You may not find anything that goes well with it. So, start with something simple. The salad herbs one is one that is really, really good. It goes with everything. I put it on eggs or, again, rice, chicken, just absolutely everything. It goes really well. I haven't found anything yet that it didn't really complement. So that's probably a good one to start with. And you can just sort of experiment that way. You might find that you like the lighter ones, or you might find one that, the ones that have, there are some that actually have lemon in them as well. So you might enjoy that one a little bit more if you're more of a sour kind of person. So try it with different things. It goes with, tag it with your breakfast if you want your eggs or your rice, or in this case, even with soup. Grow up. There's absolutely nothing wrong with enjoying a big bowl of cock soup. Anyway, try it with a little bit of everything. It doesn't matter what you're putting it in. If it's going to eventually help curb things, then in the long run, I think it's going to help us out a little bit more. And I'm not going to address the soup thing again because, again, I'm just going to degenerate into puerile jokes, which are still funny, but we'll leave it for another day. Anyway, for right now, though, thank you very much for watching this video. This is it. If you liked it, please poke the like button for me. And in the meantime, keep yourself warm and fuzzy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.